Hey guys, what is going on? It's Giant2Thumbs17 here, bringing you, I believe, this is episode 18 of my Football Manager 2016 Unemployed Start Save. Currently about to begin my 4th season with Stevenage. This is our 2nd season in Skybet League 1. We just finished barely out of the playoffs last season. And so our aim for this year is to finish mid-table. That's going to be kind of our minimum goal. I'm definitely going to try to fight for promotion here. So before we get started with anything, I of course have to do my plug party. Be sure to like and favorite this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Tumblr, be sure to add me. My name on all those sites is Giant2Thumbs17. And as always, those links will be down below in the description. So being that this is the start of the new season, let's go ahead and take a look at our squad. We've done a little bit of sort of reorganization, I guess. I'm feeling pretty confident about this squad going forward. We're super young. We only have 2 players over the age of 30. So I think we're set up pretty nicely for the future. You can see all our guys are pretty determined. We have a lot of hot prospects. I'm pretty excited about this squad going forward. So let's go ahead and take a start at our starting 11. And then maybe I'll talk about a few of our backups and subs that kind of keeping an eye on. So in goal, of course, we have Konate. He has just improved every single year. I actually think he's from a coaching standpoint, scouting standpoint, whatever, I actually think I'll have to double check, but I think he's our highest kind of starred player. But he's been awesome for us the past couple seasons. Has just really improved, really grown over the last few years. He's only 23 years old still. Super excited about him. Hopefully we could keep him and he'll be our goalkeeper for a long time to come. But he really improved last year, came up big in a number of games for us, so expecting good things from him this season. The first member of our central defender trio is Bolger. This is a guy we brought in this offseason, signed him as a free agent. So still kind of not sure what to expect from him. Hoping for good things though. As you can see, he's quite the aerial threat. Good strength, good jumping, good heading. I think he has a pretty good, solid foundation for us. He just looks like a solid player at this level. Decent speed, pretty decent mental stats. There's a few things we could work on. Maybe his agility, maybe his balance off the ball could improve a little bit. Definitely marking can move up some. But I think he should just be a solid defender for us. And as I mentioned, we were really focused on improving our back line after the struggles of last season. In the middle of our defenders, we're going with Campbell Young. He's another really young guy. When we brought him in at first, we were thinking he was going to be a wing back, but you can see his passing's not great. His cross feed is pretty horrible. He has good physical stats. He's a very athletic player, but we're definitely just converting him straight central defender now. He's really good. He's pretty good overall. The big sort of area that he's lacking in is, his aerial presence. He just doesn't really have any jumping. But, that's not the end of the world. I don't think we score too many... not score. I don't think we give up too many goals from headers. Most of the crosses coming in are volleys and half volleys and things like that. So not too concerned about his jumping. But he has good strength, good acceleration, good positioning, pretty good mental stats all around. He is only 21 years old. Last half of the season last year, he improved a lot. So normally Huntington would be our other starting central defender. he's another guy. He took quite a bit of time last year to kind of get situated. I didn't think he was going to be with the squad this year just because when we first got him, he wasn't really playing all that well. But as the season went on, he really picked it up and kind of, earned a spot on this team. One of our older players, one of the two guys that's 30 or older, pretty decent all around. Another good aerial presence guy, good determination, pretty solid mental stats. Currently injured, dealing with a double hernia. But, I might expect just a solid season out of him. Nothing fantastic. So while he's out, we're going with Josh Leland. Josh Leland. This is another guy we signed this offseason to kind of bolster our defense. I kind of like the versatility of him. As you can see, he has really solid physical stats, so we can play him as a wingback if needed. Even though his crossing isn't that great. His passing's okay. Flair's horrible. But we can put him out there in a pinch. He is 23. He's pretty young. His mental stats are not the greatest, if we're being honest. But I think he's good enough to sort of just kind of plug in when we need. So on the right side, we're going with Tatum. Ignore the fact that he has 5 crossing, because that is very, very misleading. He has just put some killer balls in. I mean, he's had runs where everything is just on point. And so I'm not too concerned about his crossing being at a 5 and his passing being at a 5, because in game, he certainly performs better than that. He's a really good, physical, speedy player. Not too much to complain about him. I know from a stats perspective, he doesn't look like the best guy, but from a sort of performance standpoint, he has certainly done well for us. So until really we find a better option, Tatum's the guy. On the other side, we are of course going with Flago. Missed a good chunk of last season, out injured, but he is just a solid all-around wingback. A great passer. I believe he led the team in assists last season, if I'm not mistaken. He just puts in some killer balls. Super excited to have him healthy and back in the lineup. In the midfield, of course, I can't say enough about him. No surprises here. We are going with Dean Perrett. He was a contender for Skybet League 1 Player of the Year last season. He was by far our best player. I'm kind of surprised to see him sort of rated so poorly. When I was looking at his stats and comparing them to last season, the only thing that's changed is his composure has actually increased. Everything else has remained the same. And he finished second in average rating last season in the entire league. So I'm kind of surprised that they just have him at 2.5 stars. But he's our most consistent player. The past 2 seasons, he has just been ridiculous. And he's led us in average rating both years. Super pumped to have him kind of orchestrating everything. He's kind of the linchpin in our offense. So to his sides, we're going with Petchy. He's pretty solid. He's had a couple games here and there where he's disappeared, but he's also when Perrett was out, he also stepped up pretty big and became like the guy in our midfield. So I think if he could be more consistent, there's a lot to like about him. On the other side, we are going with a new signing, oh man, this is a hard name. Rakoto Harisoa. That is a hard name. I think we're just going to call this guy like P-Rack for short. I like P-Rack. New signing, I like what he brings to the table. There's a few things, obviously, he could, we would like to see a little higher, especially from a sort of defensive standpoint. But he looks overall pretty solid. So I'm not expecting great things out of him, but I think he will just be a solid performer for us. Up top, oh man, what is he? I need to look at my tactics real quick. Deep line forward. So up top we have Jamie Thomas. He is by far our deadliest finisher. Just good stats all around. There's a few things he could work on. I'd like to see him have a little bit better anticipation. He's not really an aerial threat of any kind. His positioning, just okay. Teamwork, just okay. But he had a run last year where he was just on fire. And everything he touched was going in the back of the net. You see he has 10 goals and 17 appearances. Which isn't fantastic, but for us that's actually really good. Because we have had just so much trouble finishing. So he's going to be up top, and with him we are going with Cora as our advanced forward. He led the team in goals last season. The jury's still kind of out on him, I'd say. I don't feel like he's the guy for us. Because one of his problems is he's super inconsistent. There will be games where, everything he touches is on target, and then there will be games where he just completely and utterly disappears. But I think for the most part, I think we have a pretty solid group here. We're predicted to be slightly better than last season. Last season, our odds were 50-1. This season, they're 40-1. So nobody is really giving us too much of a chance. But they do recognize that we're slightly better. So just real quick, going through the subs. Won't go too in depth with them. A lot of names you already know. Mombella, Kennedy. Those are really the main two. Hardy, Rossiter, Collier. Some new guys who got Brian Morris is midfielder depth. Lassamy, wingback depth, just because we had trouble, especially once Fligo went down last season. Jack Powell is going to be coming off the bench whenever we need to rest Perrette. Aside from that, I think the only other person we brought in is this guy, Gierke. Super young, another kind of wingback prospect. Good physical stats. We're looking to kind of mold him into a better player. We also brought in another player that doesn't have a work permit. Cameroon midfielder Uguda. He'll probably be with the club this year, and then next year we'll try to loan him out. One of the things we noticed, because last season we had Burns, who we ended up selling, and we also had Niane, is that we could not find any place for them last season. Nobody wanted them. And then all of a sudden this offseason, everybody was willing to buy them. And so we couldn't get a loan offer for Burns, so we sold them. But there were teams willing to loan Niane. So we're finally working on his work permit. And that's going to be sort of the same plan for Uguda. And then players to watch this season. I know this isn't how you pronounce his name, but I'm still going with Chiabi, because that sounds better to me. He played really well for us last season once we brought him up, coming off the bench. Super excited about his potential. Also, Theo Caron, another just solid prospect that we're really looking forward to. Those guys will be rotated into the lineup to get them some more experience. Gorman is another guy to kind of watch out for. He's not really thought too highly of because he has average rating 7.06. He's one of those guys that I guess yeah, from a sort of like a stat standpoint, doesn't look that well, but he just goes out and performs. And really, that's about it. I'm not sure how much longer Rossiter and Collier are going to be with the club, to be honest. We might try to move them and just kind of decrease our squad size a little bit. But aside from that, I'm super happy with the squad right now. I think we have a really good setup going forward. And we have some players that, could be pretty good for our level. So I'm super happy about that. So I just kind of want to give you guys a quick look at the team before we get the season started here. This is the squad we'll be going with. Tactics remain the same. Just some slight changes here and there. Just going with a attack, a standard, and a counter, depending on who we're going up against. I think with these three formations, or not really formations, it's the same formation. With these three tactics, I think we could just match up with anybody and perform well in any situation. Just a few changes here and there, but overall, pretty similar to last season. So that's going to do it for this video. Once again, I'm Johnny Two Thumbs 17. Be sure to like and favorite this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Tumblr, be sure to add me. My name on all of those sites is Johnny Two Thumbs 17, and those links will be down below in the description. And next episode, we will be back with some actual game footage. So until next time, peace.